under the bright lights of the Honda Center in Anaheim, California. The atmosphere swelled with energy and anticipation. The crowd buzzed as if electricity itself pulsed through the air. Two men stood ready to clash. One, the undefeated prodigy from Cincinnati, Adrien "the Problem" Broner, a fighter whose confidence bordered on arrogance. The other, Mexico's proud warrior, Daniel Ponce de León, a former world champion and veteran of countless wars. The lights dimmed, and as Broner made his way to the ring, his swagger was unmistakable. Headphones on, head high, the picture of a young man who believed destiny had already crowned him. Across the ring, Ponce de León stood stoic, his face carved with the experience of battle, his eyes sharp and locked in. He had been through bloodier nights, harder wars, and now, at 30, he sought to teach the young man across from him that experience could humble even the most gifted. The introductions roared through the arena. When the bell rang, time seemed to pause for a heartbeat, and then the storm began. Broner, larger, leaner, and quicker, moved with measured rhythm, but Ponce de León came forward like a wave of persistence, testing his defense with sharp lefts to the body and hooks upstairs. It wasn't a feel-out round. It was a declaration. Ponce de León had come to fight, not to bow. By the second and third rounds, the pattern began to form. Ponce de León pressed the action, his southpaw stance sending looping lefts into Broner's ribs, forcing him toward the ropes. Each time the Mexican fighter landed to the body, the crowd roared, sensing his hunger. Broner, however, refused to be rattled. He moved smoothly, his guard tight, his jabs snapping like a whip through the air. The difference in speed was visible. Broner's punches carried a polish that reflected his youth and precision, but Ponce's shots had weight, authority, and the thudding persistence of a man who'd learned to break his opponents down piece by piece. Every time Broner tried to find rhythm, Ponce stepped inside and let his hands go. The veteran wasn't giving the prospect an easy night, yet there was something deliberate about Broner's approach. He was studying, calculating, trying to time the rushes, waiting for the perfect counter. Still, in those early rounds, the experience of Ponce de León was showing. He was busier, hungrier, throwing more. His left hand found a home on Broner's body and chin alike, and when the bell ended the third, the Mexican corner erupted with confidence. They believed they were ahead. As the middle rounds arrived, the fight began to shift. Broner, calm and unhurried, started to show why he was considered one of boxing's brightest rising stars. His right hand found its range, snapping Ponce's head back with surgical precision. The Cincinnati fighter had that rare ability to look relaxed while operating under fire. He rolled with punches, slipped under hooks, and countered with short, vicious combinations. The crowd's rhythm changed, too. Each sharp crack of Broner's counter drew gasps. Still, Ponce de León was relentless. His punches to the body were his investment. Each thud a coin dropped into the future rounds. His southpaw stance continued to cause Broner trouble, and his determination turned every exchange into a test of will. Broner's corner urged him to step on the gas, to let his hands go more, but the young fighter remained composed, confident in his timing. It was a clash of philosophies, youthful patience versus veteran urgency. Ponce's aggression was winning the crowd, but Broner's accuracy was beginning to tell its own story. Round 5 brought the fight's turning point. By now, Broner had downloaded Ponce de León's rhythm. His jab became a weapon of disruption, halting the Mexican's advances and setting traps for the counter right hand. A crisp combination from Broner stunned Ponce momentarily, and the crowd roared as the young American began to dictate the pace. His confidence blossomed with every landed shot, and the swagger that fans either loved or loathed began to emerge inside the ropes. Ponce, though, was far from done. He responded with grit, digging into the body again, trying to slow Broner's legs. The fight became an intricate dance, Broner's speed and accuracy against Ponce's experience and heart. Every time Broner landed a clean shot, Ponce fired back with a flurry of his own, as if refusing to let the moment belong to anyone but him. The round ended with both men throwing until the bell. The arena standing in awe of the intensity between youth and experience, arrogance and endurance. The later rounds tested both men in different ways. Broner, now in rhythm, began to fight with the poise of a seasoned technician. His counters were sharp, his defense tighter, and his jab turned from probe to punishment. Yet Ponce de León continued to force exchanges, stepping on Broner's lead foot to freeze him, throwing left hands with desperation and pride. His punches may have been slower, but they carried a lifetime of resolve. The commentary team spoke of Ponce's heart, how he was outworking Broner in volume, even if not in effectiveness. They spoke of Broner's need to do more, to show he wasn't just coasting on talent. The crowd sensed it too, that strange mix of admiration and frustration. Broner was brilliant in moments, but cautious overall, while Ponce embodied the relentless spirit of a fighter who refused to fade quietly. The ninth round encapsulated their contrast perfectly. Ponce surging forward, throwing combinations. Broner standing tall, slipping and countering with clinical precision. Neither man would break. As the 10th and final round began, tension gripped the arena. Both corners knew the fight was close. One fighter had volume, the other precision. Ponce's corner screamed for urgency, telling their man to empty the tank. Broner's team told him to stay sharp, stay smart, and close the show. When the bell rang, both men met in the center and let their instincts take over. Ponce pushed forward, landing a solid left to the body and a right upstairs. Broner answered with a crisp right cross that stopped the veteran in his tracks. The exchanges grew fierce, each punch thrown with final round desperation. The roar of the fans swelled with every connection. As the seconds ticked away, Broner stayed composed, slipping, countering, and firing just enough to stamp his authority. When the final bell rang, both men raised their gloves, Ponce in pride, Broner in confidence. They had given the crowd 10 rounds of heart and skill, youth and veteran spirit intertwined in a battle of wills. As the fighters stood in their corners, sweat dripping, lungs heaving, there was uncertainty in the air. The crowd was divided. Some believed Ponce de León's pressure and volume had earned him the edge. Others saw Broner's sharp counters and cleaner punches as the mark of the superior boxer. The ring announcer stepped to the center, holding the scorecards. The air felt heavy. The words echoed through the arena. All three judges score the bout, for the winner by unanimous decision, from Cincinnati, Ohio, Adrien "The Problem" Broner. The reaction was mixed. Cheers from his supporters, boos from those who felt the Mexican veteran deserved more. Ponce de León nodded in quiet acceptance, his face marked by battle but his pride intact. Broner raised his arms, smirking slightly, knowing he had survived a true test, not just of skill, but of heart and composure. In the aftermath, reflections filled the night. For Adrien Broner, it was another step in a meteoric rise, another victory on the road to stardom, though not one without lessons. Against Daniel Ponce de León, he had seen what true grit looked like, a man who refused to give way, who fought with everything he had left. For Ponce, though the judges were cards-read defeat, his performance resonated deeply with those who value spirit over flash. He had forced a young star to dig deep, to earn his respect. The crowd's mixed emotions spoke volumes, admiration for both, questions for the future. That night in Anaheim wasn't just a win or a loss. It was a snapshot of boxing's eternal story: youth against age, talent against toil, arrogance against endurance. And as the lights dimmed over the ring, both men walked away having written their chapter in the Book of Warriors. A night where pride, pain, and purpose collided under the golden glow of the fight game.